It's Monday, February 24th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, searching for things and how it kind of works.
Not really.
Let's do this. So I know I talk about skiing a lot, so I'll keep it brief, but this weekend I went out to Vermont for a ski trip with some friends. Little couples hanging out in a ski lodge. It was like the traditional, stereotypical ski lodge. It had the big fire. It had like this common area. Everyone would hang out there during the night. Point the first. The bras that like to ski, like, yo, brah, dude, brah, gets wicked pow, brah. Those guys are real annoying.
Yeah.
But what I found hilarious was that the four of us went into the hot tub and we're hanging out. And those bras would come in like, yeah, we're going to hot tub with our beer. And they have like this big thing of beer with them. And then they'd see us adults in the hot tub and they'd like, oh. And then they'd quietly kind of come away. And then they'd keep peeking in the window like, are they gone? Are they gone? And we weren't gone.
Why don't you just come in and hot tub with the non-bras, bro?
So they did at one point. So we were hanging out in the hot tub and they got in, but I think they only got in.
How big is this hot tub?
Big enough for about 8 people.
Okay, it's big.
Gaga.
Yeah.
So they get in with us, and it appears like they keep looking at the girls in our group, because there's 2 girls in our group. But once it becomes obvious that those girls are with the guys that are also in the group, they kind of slink away, and they don't really come back to the hot tub.
Is that your whole story? Did you guess you didn't die again?
Nope. I almost did, though.
Oh, really? Well, it's getting close to that time.
So there was a freak weather on the mountain. So all the powder, the pow, wicked nar, all the snow got turned into ice. Not just like solid ice, but imagine a slope, like basically a sheer cliff, covered not in snow, not even in ice, but golf ball sized balls of ice stacked up like 4 inches thick.
Oh, so not just a sheet of ice, but basically a pile of hail.
So that's what I got to ski on, because a lot of the trails were closed due to icing and other conditions.
Wouldn't your legs just sort of sink into it and just like shump?
No, it's solid and hard. You can't really sink into it.
Oh, the balls are all stuck together?
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically, a bunch of trails were closed. I went off on my own at one point because I platted this path down, like I'll take this trail to this trail to this trail, because it's a bigger mountain.
And let's see, past the Death Gulch into the Spiky Rock Gorge.
So imagine if I think I'm going to go take Frolic to Bunny Buster. So I go down Frolic, and Bunny Buster's closed, and then all the other trails along that way are closed, and eventually I hit a spot where the only way down that takes me in the direction I need to go, as in the correct side of the mountain, is this crazy-ass, like, double black cliff covered in ice that doesn't look like anyone has actually skied it yet that day.
All right, but wait, that's open.
It is not.
The other things are not open?
There was a rope in front of it that said, danger experts only, thin cover, ice. But it didn't say closed. There wasn't really another way down because it was getting near the end of the day, and I had to get back to there's so many lodges, and I had to get to the right one. So I didn't have time to go down the other side of the mountain because then the lifts would have closed, and I couldn't have easily gotten back. So fuck it. I just went down this thing, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, Death Gulch.
It was also kind of awesome.
You're lucky.
Or skilled.
You only got like maybe 10 ski trips left.
I'm either lucky or skilled. You should come skiing sometime.
Yeah, I'm going to stay alive.
All right.
Over here where it's safe.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're probably more likely to die being hit on your bike by a car than I am to die on the ski slope. I have other ventures.
Also, you know what the other problem with skiing is? Even if I always make fun of skiing like you're going to die. And that is and it is totally true. But there is another major, even if we forget that problem with skiing, that you will die, and we just completely forget about that, there's another problem with skiing. And you know what? I'll even admit, going fast down a thing is fun.
It's way fun.
No one can deny that. Roller coasters.
Yeah, imagine a roller coaster you control.
Bike down a hill, right? No one denies that. There's another problem with skiing.
It's cold?
It's cold and wet. Fuck that shit.
You know what? It's not wet most of the time.
It doesn't matter. When that snow touches you, you are warm because you're a human body. It melts on you. Then it's cold, and then wind blows on you.
You know what I have?
Fuck you.
I have a large array of expensive protective gear.
Fuck that shit. I'll stay inside.
Yeah, okay.
You know what's inside? Warm.
In fact, you know what? I could use that same gear to bike in the cold.
You know what? All day on friggin' Sunday, not only was I inside in the warm, right? I had my oven on 475. It was warm. And I was going, I don't even need no hot tub. It's so warm.
When we got home on Sunday,
then I had
went
the oven
running in
on, and when I
shorts.
opened the oven, bread came out. No bread coming out of skis.
Yeah, you know where bread came out? Here's the thing. You ski all day,
butt.
right? And then when the skiing's done, you go to the lodge, and then you get food at the restaurants by the ski lodge.
Yeah,
And that's some good food.
it's not bread you made.
Yeah, you know what? I ate bread at a place called The Garlic.
Okay.
It was pretty garlic.
No, I hope so.
It was garlic.
Is it sort of the a sister restaurant to Salt and Fat?
Imagine if Salt and Flat were just garlic and garlic.
Okay.
It was the poster was like the sign was basically just this huge 3-dimensional bulb of garlic.
Alrighty.
It was good times.
Can you access this restaurant without skiing?
Yes, you can drive to it. Though I point out, like I ski, like I'm not a professional skier, but I ski like I'm interested in challenges and technical courses and whatever. So I don't drink while I'm skiing. I drink after I'm done skiing. At many of the resorts I go to,
That is not true for most people.
I know there are bars that are not at the top of the mountain
In the middle.
and are not at the bottom of the mountain. Meaning you have to ski to them and from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just ski, you stop. There's a guy literally hands you a beer out like a window of a cart, like it's a you know.
You've never been to the West Indies. You don't know what it looks like up
Actually,
there.
one time we walked down a mountain in Israel, and at the bottom there was a guy hand lemonade stand in the best possible place.
Oh, at the bottom?
at the end of a long hike. Yeah,
Okay, so lemonade stand at the bottom of a mountain is the same as ski chalet at the middle of a mountain.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you got any tech news?
Tech news. Well, I got two things that are sort of not quite news, not quite thing of the day. So I'll use the one that's actually written recently, as in 2 days ago, as the news one.
All right.
This guy, Scott Hanselman, wrote an article, Microsoft killed my pappy. Right? And
I saw a link to that.
Right. So what the article is about is, you know how you have like a feud with someone and you'd be like, that there family done 20 years ago killed my
What,
great
the Hatchfelds and the McCoys?
grandpapa, so now I hate them too, right? So basically, there's people now who just, Microsoft is his example, right? But they just be hating Microsoft. And you know what? Back in the day, you know, like 2000, there were reasons for that.
Well, remember, IBM used to be the good guy. Then they were the bad guy. Microsoft was the good guy. Then the bad
Right.
guy. Now almost the good guy again.
Right, but it's like, you look, what is Microsoft doing now? They're not doing their antitrust nonsense. They're not, 90% of the evil things that were the reasons that, Bill Gates with a Borg thing on his face was the icon of Microsoft on Slashdot. All those things that they did then, most of those things, almost all of them actually, they no longer do.
Yep.
But people still are so, even I have a coworker who's even like, Microsoft is worst. It's so bad. Right?
I enjoy people like that. I always ask, oh, yeah, what have they done recently?
He won't do any Microsoft anything. He'll buy a PlayStation, he won't buy an Xbox, right?
Wow.
It's like, okay, whatever. And it's like, they're just Windows is garbage. Your registry fills up with stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah,
so?
1998 called.
Right.
They want their Windows problems back.
Exactly. And it's like, even if the registry fills up with stuff, what does that matter? It doesn't. My computer works just fine.
Yeah, what the fuck are you installing, dude?
Right. It's like they're all complaining about their Macs being slow and running out of memory because OS X memory management is garbage. And I'm like, my Windows computer works just fine. And they're like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, what?
That's,
You can use
the
your
worst.
GNU Linux desktop?
Right.
Is that what you're using?
Anyway, so the point is, it just, people be hating on something just because of something they done long ago, and they can't let go of that hate and see the truth of the present, right?
Wait, so haters gonna hate?
That's right. And it's, this guy writes this great article about, it's not very long, but he's like, yeah, look at this, it's because Microsoft did done kill your pappy. There's no denying that. But Microsoft today is like the great-grandson of the Microsoft that killed your pappy. Why are you hating on them?
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
if there's a company to hate on in that vein, Oracle was hated on in the 90s.
Oracle is still bad.
I would still hate on them even
Fuck you,
today.
Oracle, today. You're still evil.
Yeah, Ellison. I remember you guys are really pushing that CBD TPA bullshit.
Right. GoDaddy, fuck you too.
Yeah.
All right, but you know what? It's possible, like 20 years from now, GoDaddy will be like the go-to place for domains or whatever, and not the worst absolute place you can possibly
could
go.
happen.
It could happen. And, it's like, I know a lot of Jews out there, right? Because, I know Jews. And it's like they won't buy a Volkswagen because Hitler. And it's like, seriously?
That was like 70 years ago.
Right. It's like, seriously? Really? Really? Am I going to, like, just not be friends with any German person ever because their grandpa, killed Jews? It's like, they didn't do it, right? Same deal.
Well, I think, I've
Also,
noticed this
Godwin's Law.
trend because on I still read Slashdot, so I can get yesterday's news tomorrow. But the trouble with Slashdot is that the commentary was 90% of the reason I would read it, and the commentary is still pretty good, like the comments. But
I don't read comments.
I see comments are the only reason I read sites like net/dot and Fark.
I read them so I don't have to visit 20 different news sites. I can just go to one place. It's all
But I read the comments because usually the top rated comments will all, like, if the article is BS, like they'll immediately like, here's why it's BS, don't bother. Like I can get a wide range of technical summary and analysis of the article quickly, crowdsourced. But younger kids went onto Reddit or are too stupid about computers to give reasonable commentary. So as a result, Slashdot has not gotten more conservative relative to what it was in the 90s. It's that everyone who read Slashdot in the 90s is still reading it and has the same opinion on everything that they had in the 90s.
Yep.
So Slashdot in the 90s, they were really pro, like, all this modern upcoming technology, and now they all hate Google Glass. So, yeah, that's Slashdot.
Yeah.
But I use Slashdot to find some summaries and some information about my news because kids don't seem to understand this shit.
No.
So there was a big news that was making the rounds about how net neutrality is dead, which was a while ago, and it is dead.
It's becoming true, yeah.
But now, Netflix to pay Comcast for smoother streaming. Now, that headline sounds like net neutrality is dead. The reality is, it means net neutrality is dead, but not for the reasons you think it means. So, I specifically want to call out a lot of people, both in person and on the internet, who tried to argue with me because they don't understand the differences between peering, hosting, content delivery networks, cache servers. These are all the things that the young people on the internet don't know and the old people don't bother to explain.
Very few people really understand all these technologies.
And it also, it's not...
I understand them.
There's no, like, succinct explanation. Like, I'll link to them so you guys can read them. Read the explanation of a Tier 1 network and a Tier 2 network and a Tier 3 network and peering, and I defy any of you to write reasonable definitions of these, but the core concept is pretty simple. If you want to connect to the internet, you have no leverage, no buying power, nothing to offer anyone, and you live in a place that has probably only one copper cable going into it. So whoever owns that copper cable, you're fucked. That's what you get.
Yep.
Maybe there's two copper cables. Maybe there's a copper cable and a fiber cable. Maybe.
Damn, you lucky, son.
Yeah, like my building
At least
has,
in the United States.
I have Time Warner and Fios in my building.
Damn.
Already wired up. You just say which one or both, and they just start
Both.
working.
Double it up. Put a router on that shit.
I considered that at one point for a backup, except Time Warner fucking sucks.
Double
Fios is
bandwidth.
crazy fast.
Time Warner is
Double,
theoretically...
double. No, at the time when
Listen,
I bought,
okay.
double.
Theoretically, within the next 4 days, Time Warner is going to make my speeds 100 down and 10 up, theoretically.
Yeah, you'll have a faster
And you know what? They're
down
like-
than me
they're
and a
like-
way slower up.
They're like, hey, we're, they sent me this letter, like, hey, we're upgrading all our shit at no extra cost to you. Same plans, more speeds. Woo! Then I
But
got another letter, like something that was much less like an advertisement.
Yeah.
That was something you're supposed to pay attention to and much more fine print, ignore this and throw it out. That was like, yeah, we're charging you more money, asshole.
ha ha ha.
It's actually getting close to the point. I think if I spent $10 more a month, I would get a fuck ton of cable TV, but I'm not doing it. That's
Yep.
$120 a year. Fuck you.
You got to stand strong on that.
Not doing
Plus,
it.
that's always an introductory rate.
That's no, it's actually, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, but I can pirate anything on cable.
that's right.
Can't stop
There's
me.
nothing I want to watch, and besides, if you get the Korean TV networks with subtitles, maybe I'll pay you.
Yeah, but I mean, if I can pay Crunchyroll $7 an hour a month for basically all the anime,
Yep.
it's hard to convince me to pay $70 a month for a bunch of channels that I'm never gonna
Well,
watch.
it's technically 10, which is still more than Crunchyroll, but I'm gonna watch less on Crunchyroll than I do. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. So,
I mean less on TV than I do on. Yeah.
based on these articles, because what I can tell, the agreement is secret, but what happened? I'm going to quote this article on MarketWatch, which is not the best website, but it'll do, pig.
It's better than some guy on the internet.
Yep. So basically, Netflix has agreed to pay Comcast to ensure Netflix movies and television shows stream smoothly to Comcast customers. A landmark pact that could set a precedent for Netflix's dealings with other broadband providers, aka ending network neutrality. Now, what it says here, quote, in exchange for payment, undisclosed payment, by the way, Netflix will get direct access to Comcast's broadband network. And it goes on about a bunch of other stuff, but it's not, none of the articles I can find are super clear about exactly what Netflix is purchasing, and how much they paid for it is completely secret. So I want to explain the different things that Netflix could have done. One, they could have paid Comcast for Comcast to let them host, like co-located on their network directly, Netflix caching servers or redistribution servers.
Google does this actually. If you go to like your ISP, like if your my ISP is Time Warner. If I went to the Time Warner like place nearby where everything's hooked up, there would be a space in there where there are servers owned and operated by Google that are in there, and Google is paying Time Warner money to have those servers be there. Why? So if I go to google.com, it loads mad fast because Google's servers are right there at Time Warner, as opposed to having to go all the way to where Google's shit is and all the way back. And what's wrong with that?
So if I want to stream, like say I'm on Time Warner and I want to stream, I'm watching Netflix. So my little computer connects through all my network equipment up to my ISP. My ISP then routes that traffic to a higher tier ISP, like one of the bigger networks, like Cogent's.
ISP of ISPs. Like if you wanted to open up your own ISP, you would have to go get an account with these guys.
You could be a tier 2 and then pay a tier 1 to get access to the rest of the internet. But I digress. So my traffic would go up to my ISP, Time Warner, and then from there, they would figure out the route to Netflix's network. Mm-hmm. So Netflix has an ISP in their data center. So let's say
Netflix's stuff is on Amazon Oz. So.
Yes, but there's still an ISP.
Right.
So it then goes through some higher tier network and then to Netflix's data center, Netflix's servers, and then back again. So if there's only one route between my ISP and Netflix through, for example, Cogent, because that's the example from this article, and that link between the two networks gets overloaded, I'm fucked.
It's going to be slow, yo, or not working at all.
Now, there's a lot of ways to get around this. So if they put a Netflix server in Comcast network, then it could route requests to stream directly to that server and never leave Comcast network.
That'd be really fast. But they'd have to have all the videos on there. But yeah, it'd be really fast.
Yep, or at least they'd have to have the most popular videos on there.
Right.
And then go on to the mothership for, the one guy who's watching like Lilyhammer or
That's
something.
why sometimes one YouTube video's fast, one YouTube video's slow.
Yep, there was an issue a while ago on Verizon Fios where I blocked at my router all of Verizon's caching servers of YouTube because they weren't working right. And as a result, my YouTube suddenly got crazy fast. Mm-hmm. But then they fixed the problem and I turned all that off.
Yeah, YouTube seems to be good now. They fixed it.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway.
So, to quote this article, in recent months, traffic jams have developed in some of the existing connections through middlemen, so higher tier ISPs, to broadband providers like Comcast and Verizon. These bottlenecks included Cogent, which Netflix was using as their primary route to Comcast. So Netflix's network was connected to Comcast network through Cogent. Mm-hmm. So one way to fix this would be to have more peering relationships or more routes for people to take. So Comcast and
Build
Cogent,
new highway. I can't get from Dallas to San Antonio quick enough.
They could make more connections. They could have more ways to connect between these networks. But that just costs both of them money to benefit me and Netflix. So our system's kind of fucked up in that there's almost no incentive to increase the sort of internetworkness of the core of the internet.
Right. It's like, okay, Netflix calls up, Netflix and me have a business arrangement where I give them money and they give me videos, right? So me and Netflix both want those videos to be fast so that our money arrangement continues. Actually, I stopped buying Netflix. I don't have them. But anyway, Comcast just doesn't give a shit. I have to pay them no matter what. I'm not going to stop paying them, right? So if Netflix wants to have throw a direct cable to Comcast so the videos get to me faster, and Netflix can't be their own ISP, at least not yet. So, but Comcast is like, we don't want to do that. Why the fuck would we want to do that? They just cost us money. It doesn't do anything for us. We don't care if Netflix is faster or not. That doesn't help us in any way.
Yep, and there's no competition because most people only have access to one consumer ISP.
Yep.
So saying we have fast access to Netflix, but they doesn't really help them.
No.
Nor does it help me because I can't there's no way for them to compete for my business.
Comcast does these commercials on TV. Our Netflix is faster if you get Comcast, but it's like, I have no choice. Seriously, okay, whatever.
Yep.
So if Netflix wants to have this cable directly connected from Netflix to Comcast, but Comcast doesn't benefit from it, so Netflix has to pay for it.
Yep, so Comcast can sort of extort Netflix because they're under no obligation to increase their links to Cogent, and Cogent doesn't give a fuck.
No, they don't give
And even if they did,
shits.
it would just cost them more, so either Netflix would pay Cogent more to work with Comcast, but Comcast could say, screw you, pay me more instead.
Right.
So the only way to fix this is legislation and regulation. The problem is that legislation and regulation would likely be corrupt, so I don't know what to do. But
all ISPs, common carrier, fuck you all. The end.
But for everything that I can read from all these articles, to quote again, in exchange for payment, Netflix will get direct access to Comcast broadband network. It is highly likely that what this deal is that Netflix network will have a direct peering or transit relationship to Comcast network.
Meaning
bypassing
physical cables from where Netflix is and where Netflix's servers are to where Comcast
They might be
are.
cables, they might be cross connects, which are basically just like, say I have a server at like NY4, a data center in New York, and you have a server at NY4.
We just take an Ethernet cable and
yeah,
toss
we
it
both
over
have
the
different
top.
ISPs. We could say, yo, NY4, give us a cross connect.
And now think about it. Somebody's paying is like $1 zillion to you to is basically you're standing in a data center and you're holding an Ethernet cable. You're like, plug this. Is this connected to my computer? Plug this into your router, and we'll make the whole internet faster. And someone's like, pay me, and I'll plug this in. All right, here's $2 million. Fine, click, done.
The issue is that the mechanism design of this system is bad. The people who can do the most good and make the internet the best are the people who are the least incentivized to invest in it.
Right, you might think it's like all it is connecting an Ethernet cable. Why doesn't everyone who's in the same data center all connect Ethernet cables every which way, connecting every possible thing to make tons and tons of routes?
Well, one, that's complicated.
Ethernet cables are really cheap, yo.
Yeah, routing
the
tables.
I'm sure the routers have extra ports on them.
It's not just
I'm
a matter
sure
of
the
extra
routers
ports.
can figure that shit out on their own these days. They're pretty automatic.
Should we do a show on routing protocols?
It's your favorite.
No, it's not. I haven't fucked around with routing protocols on personally in over a decade.
It's still your favorite.
It's not.
No, it's your second favorite after clock setting.
Clock setting is still my favorite. Okay. The fixed protocol is my second favorite, so it's down there. So read these Wikipedia articles, learn your shit. Network neutrality is way more complicated than you think it is.
Right, but the point is, while net neutrality is under great threat and is very, very important, this is not actually, a net neutrality issue. Net neutrality would be if in the router, in some software, in some instruction, they said, if the packet comes from here, give it a higher priority. If it comes from there, slow it down. They're not doing that. All they're doing is rearranging the structure of the internet. It's like, if I'm New York and I build a highway to, I build a new highway to Connecticut. So Jersey, it's not any faster for people to get from New Jersey to New York. It's not like I'm fucking over New Jersey, though we should, right? I just built a highway to Connecticut. So Comcast and Netflix built a highway from Netflix to Comcast. Does that mean that it's not neutral? They have to build a highway to everyone that's the same all the time.
Here's why I would say it's related to net neutrality. The problem I have with this is that companies like Comcast can basically extort companies like Netflix to do arrangements like this.
Yep.
And really, we need all the tiers to be working together somehow. I've said it before. I've said it for a decade or more. I'll say it again. The internet needs to be regulated like utility. It is as important as electricity and water in the modern world.
Your internet bill should be the same as your electric bill, your water bill, your gas bill.
Yeah, once you've got clean water in your country and electricity, the internet should be the next thing to be, and sewers, then the internet should be the next thing to be regulated as a utility and guaranteed to all. So things of the day. Not a big fan of the Olympics as time goes on, and one of the reasons for that is
many reasons to be anti-Olympic.
Kind of like how convention centers are basically monorails. The Olympics for most countries are basically monorails.
Monorail.
But not all of them.
We don't mean monorails as in the train. We mean monorail as in a scam like the Simpsons episode.
Which was based on a movie called The Music Man, which you should all have seen.
All these things. If you haven't seen both of those things.
Yeah, My Little Pony was not referencing the Simpsons episode. They were referencing The Music Man.
That's right.
That's kind of an aside, but a lot of kids today, I see them seeing a reference to something and not realizing it's actually a reference to something far older.
See, right now we're at the stage where it's like, oh, they see something is a reference to something.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Right.
You can tell how old someone is by what they think that's from.
But you know what's going to be even worse? When people make references to something and it's like, no, actually, he was referencing Blazing Saddles because the person who made that is mad young and didn't even know.
Yup.
Anyway,
so this is a project, a photo project, to go to all the sites of previous Olympics and take pictures of what they're like now.
Well, I think pretty much comes down to two categories. Number one, you've got the Olympics that were held near population centers like Atlanta or Vancouver, right? And those things, since people live near them, got used. And then you've got the Olympics that are sort of out in the middle of fuck nowhere, like in the woods. Usually Winter Olympics are in the middle of fuck nowhere more often. Places no one goes, and those are very derelict. And then you've got ones that are sort of in the middle of nowhere, but like get used a little bit. You know, like they're at a ski resort, Winter Olympics, and maybe some people go there, but not a lot. So it's like the ski jump, you can't jump it. It's all rusted and shit, but you can still go ice skating there, and you can still go skiing.
This is an interesting project that's ongoing, and it's a lot of cool pictures.
Yeah.
So it's a thing.
Okay. My thing of day. So,
also, the site is the worst fucking font ever, but I digress.
It's not too bad.
It's not really the font. They've cut off the tops and bottoms of the letters.
Oh, that's a problem.
The alvimdicative.
Oh, that's a problem. Yeah. Anyway, so here's an article from 1999.
Wow.
It's written by the guy, or one of the people who worked on X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Wow, that game was not the greatest game, but it should have been the greatest game.
That's right. And he wrote basically all the things they learned programming that shit, specifically pertaining to the networking.
Wow, the thing that most games still can't get right.
And if you read this, most of this shit still holds true today, even though he was working on something with like no dedicated servers and 28.8 modems and whatever, trying to make it work and getting it to sort of kind of work okay-ish, right? You know, all the stuff that he's talking about still mostly applies to game network programming today. And if you have to program network code for a game, I highly recommend reading this because there really isn't going to be anything more up to date that's going to help you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In the moment,
this is really interesting.
The book club book is Wool. We'll start reading it at some point soon.
I gotta remember to take a copy home.
I gotta give Scott a copy of it. I gotta find all my copies. We're gonna be at Anime Boston doing 1, not 2, not 5, not 3, but 4 panels. Our schedule is posted on our website. We're gonna be at ZenkaiCon doing 3 or 4 panels. I'm not sure. I gotta double check. We're gonna be at PAX East doing 1 panel.
You can tell how important the convention is. The more important the convention, the less panels we do.
Nowadays, in the old days, we used to do a lot of PAX panels. And also, if you want to submit a panel to Kineticon, do it as soon as possible. Seriously, we're already scheduling. If you wait a month to submit your panel, not going to get a good time. Unless your panel's crazy awesome.
And, of course, you can find us everywhere on the entire internet that there are things, right? Twitters, Facebooks, YouTubes, Google+, everything. But I want to specifically mention I have a Twitch account, twitch.tv/APRECHE.
Scott's Twitch is pretty much the kind of like how my YouTube
I figured out how to make game videos save and not disappear.
Yep. So sorry to all of you who never got to see that awesome Nidhogg game
or that awesome Family Feud game.
I saved that locally at least.
Oh, that's good.
But I've been too busy to actually edit it together into something.
Anyway, but yeah, and right now I just feel like streaming some Pokemon Leaf Green. Twitch Plays Pokemon inspired me, and when I went to play Leaf Green, I was like, whoa, this is even better than I remember. Pokemon Leaf Green is the best Pokemons. I knew that before, and I still know that. So even if no one watches, I feel like playing it, so I'm gonna. And if you watch, maybe you can nickname some Pokemons, because my Pokemon nicknames suck.
Yeah, I feel like I'll start. I gotta pick a game and stream it regularly, but I gotta wait till all this travel is done.
Just do it whenever I feel like.
Yep, I'm gonna disappear for a while.
When are you leaving?
Next week.
Just all next week?
Pretty much.
See ya.
No Geek Nights next week and maybe the week after. So yeah, if any listeners are in London or Mumbai or Kuala Lumpur, let me know. I might be able to tell you some of my schedule. We might be able to get together, share a pint.
I guess I'm looking towards some extra net running with all my free time. All right.
Yeah. So, search technology, because we realized
okay, so first of all, we may have done this episode before, but we just did an episode that we did before.
Yeah, we did an episode on going to the dentist, and a great listener
rerun.
Pointed out that we had, in fact, already done an episode on the dentist.
Even though I had searched and not found that old episode, we did do one.
So our search obviously sucks.
It's Google, so don't blame me.
There's something wrong with our search.
Anyway.
Maybe our database is missing something.
It has nothing to do with
say.
our database. It's only Google. It's Google search. It's not our search. Anyway, we failed to find that old episode. So maybe this is a rerun as well. Maybe we have talked about search technology before, in which case, this is now rerun month.
Yep. Which is fine, because I think this is kind of interesting.
We're going to do if this is a rerun also.
Then that's hilarious.
Right. No, if we know the other one was a rerun.
Oh, I want to redo some of these shows. I'm looking at old shows we did. How to Not Suck at Driving. How to Not Suck at Life.
Hey, if this is also a rerun, we'll make it rerun month. If
the
this
worst
is not
people
also a rerun, then good, we're not doing reruns.
The Scott Show. Worst week. The worst people in history, like Abraham Lincoln and Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Oh, masturbation. I'm looking
Your
for
favorite episode.
Oh, the word dentistry appears, but not dentist.
I think Google should know if I type dentist that dentistry is a possible
Yes, it doesn't. Yeah, tonight on Geeknights, we tell tooth-related stories in the news. Free
I
can't
also
compete
searched
with
for
free.
tooth and did not find it.
And Microsoft fires a salvo at Apple in the music market. Also, catch our appearance on Anime World Order. That's a blast from the past.
Anyway.
So, but this is an aside. I feel like it's cool. You can listen to the old one and the new one and see if our opinions changed without us realizing it between 2006 and 2014.
You just really want to do reruns so you don't have to come up with ideas for new shows.
Because I want to see how much we've changed and not realized it.
I only want to do reruns if we fucked up that badly. Let's try to avoid it if possible. Anyway, so...
Well, this one was your responsibility, Captain.
I barely searched. So, search technologies. You know, you go to your Googles or something else simple. You type in a search term, you press enter, and somehow results show up. Computers have the power to do this.
Now, I want to tell you right now, guys, that's not just a big relational database.
No.
That shit stopped scaling like 30 years ago.
Right. So how the computer actually does this is actually really complicated and really hard to do, which is why I let Google do it.
Yep. But like my company, we make some software that has to do its own searching and things internally. And frankly, there's
Can't let Google do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to do this. Plus, remember, there was a time, I don't know if you still can, when you could buy a Google search appliance that would crawl your internal network.
You can still get those.
Can you?
Yep.
Because we had one at my old company. Completely fucking useless. Didn't work for shit. It was just awful.
It's good if you use it for what it was designed for.
Yeah, no, here's one of the problems. It's licensed based on the total number of things it will let you, like, it'll crawl, and it just stops once it hits that limit.
I don't know. I don't know how they charge for it now, but yeah, you can still get those.
We had one. We tried to use it. It just didn't work very well.
Anyway.
Who
knows? That was back then, too, right? How much?
Yeah, that was like 2008.
Yeah, whatevs. So, when you go to your computer and you want to search something, what is actually happening? Well, let's say you want to search, I don't know, just like a text file, right? Well, it's pretty easy to search that. You type in some text, and your computer goes through the text file, comparing your text to all the text in the text file until it sees something that matches.
Kind of inefficient.
And then it goes up. There it is. But that's really slow. But, you know, if you're just searching a text file, it's no problem. But what if it's a really big text file?
Yep.
It's going to be mad slow. You have to wait for it to get all the way to the bottom of the file every single time.
Now, you could use a database, which up to a certain size works okay, because then you can do very complex queries.
Yeah, you could be like, you know, select from table where description is kind of like this string of text.
Yep, and date updated greater than yesterday, like anything like that. You could be, so part of what you have to think about is, are you searching, do your searches or do they need to be simple? Or can you get away with simple? Or do you need to make complex queries? The more complex your query is, the harder and slower it is.
Right, well, you know, let's say, you know, if you're doing something with like data, right? Like, you know, a database query is usually all the search power you need. For example, I need to see all the sales from last month of this product. And it's like, well, that's, you know exactly what you want. It's incredibly specific and exact,
Yep.
right? Give me this data, boom. Here it is.
So by having a relational database of that data, it's a very simple structure that allows you to reliably and deterministically get arbitrary chunks of it together, analyzed against each other and interleaved against each other. Right. You can take data from a bunch of sources and just mash it together.
No, but if you want to search something that's just like the English language, right? Like, here, I'm going to type in some words, and you find me things that match these words. Now things get balls hard really fast.
Yep. So one of the most important concepts in modern search technology is the idea of indexing.
You know, like an index in the back of the book?
Yeah, think about what that is. Say
imagine
you're reading a book.
Imagine just you're a human being. You've got a book. I give you a copy of The Prince of Nothing, right? And I say, find me, I don't know, something about the step and how it's trackless.
All right, so I start reading. Now, if I remember something like, I think that's in chapter 4, then I had a cache already.
Yeah, you already found it before, and you're just going back to it.
So let's say my cache is empty. I've never read this book before. So what do? I start reading the whole fucking book.
Takes for fucking ever, right? But if you
then, what do I return? So I find the word step. Do you want that sentence, that chapter? Do I just give you the word step 100 times? Does the page number...
What if there's another place that talks about the trackless step even more?
Do I return the first result and just stop?
Yeah.
What if there's a different edition of the book where the page numbers are different?
See, this is why an index is good. An index, you just go to the index, and it's really easy to look through an index because you go right to T and you go to S. You don't need to look at the whole index. You just go to T and S and look for something about step and something about trackless. And you're like, boom, there'll be page numbers, good to go, done.
Yep. Now, what does that do? It's basically saying here is a list for one set of data what you might want to search for. Ideally, it should be a complete list, meaning everything in this category you could search for will be here.
Yep.
I mean, the index of the Prince of Nothing is not going to index then, of, for, things like that, simple words. It's only going to index probably proper nouns or nouns that are significant.
Yep.
So already I couldn't ask it, which chapters have long sentences. Or I definitely couldn't use the index to find out how many times is the word step mentioned in the entire book, period, by word.
Right.
I'd have to use the index to find the pages, and then I'd have to scan the pages to count how many times the word appears.
Right. So there are many, many things you can, just available open source and closed source technologies that basically do all this indexing work for you so you don't have to do most of it, right?
Yep, like Lucene.
Lucene, Sphinx, Solar. Well, Lucene's actually, I think, like an interface that is used by a lot of these. So it's like a lot of them speak Lucene. Solar is one of the things that speaks Lucene. But anyway, so let's say, you've got a blog or something with a billion articles on it. It's the most craziest blog ever. It's got 1 million articles. So you have this indexing server, say Solar, and Solar will, according to your instructions, it automatically at some period of time index all the blog posts, and then when there's new blog posts, it'll add them to the index. And it basically, completely separate from the database that contains the blog post, in some file somewhere, it will maintain this index. And then if anyone wants to search, you don't ask the database, you ask Solar, and you say, hey, Solar, search for this. And it'll go and be like, here's a blog post, here's the second best blog post, here's the third best blog post, according to the instructions you give it for searching.
Yep.
And while it does the work for you of indexing and searching, you still have to sort of tell it how to index and what to index and how to rank the searches and such, which is still kind of hard, but not as hard as if you had to write it yourself.
Yep. Now, performance can be an issue, so you might have to go one step further and have multiple indices of different types of data.
Yep. Index the index, right? What if you got blog posts, but you also got photo galleries, and you also got videos, and you also got video games, and you got to make separate indexes for separate types of things.
Now, you can go crazy, too, and what if there are things you would calculate? So maybe what you do is you calculate lots of crazy searches that people are likely to do and have indices of those, where you have an index that just indexes search queries, individual queries.
So the first thing you do when someone types in a search is to search for, right?
That search. Or a superset of that search.
To see if it is a search someone makes often, and if so, you already know the answer. Boom, here it is.
Yep.
Otherwise, figure out which index to search and search that index. And maybe save the result in the fast search index.
Now, in terms of zooming all the way back into you, the lowly individual human being, Most of you don't need to know a lot about this.
You do if you ever want to make something searchable.
This is the realm of programmers, the realm of designers, like technical designers, the realm of enterprise software and internet stuff. Not really the realm of the individual dude, but at the same time, what if you want to count how many times the word foo appears in a giant website? You need to know how to use regular expressions, which are basically a way of streaming text through.
Regular expression is a bad way of looking at HTML.
It is.
But I guess you could get the job done with it, maybe.
Yep. Well, maybe you're just looking for all the lines where the word foo appears.
Sure. That's a good use of regular expression.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best use of regular expressions. Show me all the lines where X appears.
Great. Perfect.
So why is there competition in search engines today, Scott?
Why is there competition? Well, search engines, they all work in different ways. Crooks slightly so, right? Some of them...
While you talk, I'm going to do a search on Bing and Yahoo and Google for the same thing.
Oh, you're talking about those search engines. I thought you were talking about the search engines that you would use if you were going to make something searchable as a developer.
No, all right. Then
you want to talk about why this competition between Google, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo,
all right, well, let's go with your tack first. That's probably a more interesting tack.
All right. Well, the reason that it's like, why doesn't just everyone use Solr? Well, Solr is Java, right? So some people might be developing a system where Java's not good for them, so they need one that doesn't use Java. But Solr is actually really good. So, maybe if you're willing to use Java, then Solr is better than that other one that's not Java. And also the different search platform technologies, some of them are better or worse at different kinds of indexing. So depending on what kind of data you have or how high performance you need it to be, right, you might choose something different. Like in Python, you can use this thing called whoosh, which is not really the highest performance searchy that there is. But you know what? It's really simple and easy to use, and it gets the job done if your job isn't too fancy. So if that's all you need, that's all you need. And you only go for the Solr if you really got, some mega huge pile of data and you need a really good search and you've got the time to invest in setting it all up. Let's talk about the big searches, though. You want to talk about why there's still Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc.?
Yep.
Well, obviously... people don't want to just let someone have a monopoly, even though they do, and you can't beat them.
Yep, but at the same time, it's hard to make money off of just searching.
Well, you don't make money from the searching. You make money from the ads on the searching.
Yep,
right?
that I don't see.
And, yeah, me either. But also, if you have just the searches themselves, when someone types something into your search box, if you just record all that, that is valuable data. Like, what are people searching for right now? What searches are more popular than others?
Yeah.
And people want to collect that data because they can make money with it. And so everyone wants you to use their search engine so that their search data is the most valuable and they can make money off of it more easily.
Now, the reality is, unlike the old days, it really doesn't matter which search engine you use. You're going to mostly find the same usefulness of results.
Even if you use Bing, you're going to find what you're looking for probably.
I mean, in the old days, like, search engines that people would use on the internet
were shitty.
Had fundamentally different methodologies.
And they were all bad.
Like, Yahoo was just a sort of human-controlled index.
It sucked.
They would just add, like, this is a website about that, so if you search for that, it'll appear on this list. So there are a lot of broken links because someone would add something and then it would disappear.
Some people had to manually add and remove them, which meant you go to Yahoo, you look for video games. Like, okay, I found some. And you go to Yahoo and look for video games. It's the same ones that were there yesterday, the same, 30 links. And it's like, oh, well, I'm sure there's a new thing about video games, so I'm not going to find it here.
Though I did notice something interesting. So I searched for Geeknights on Google, Bing, and Yahoo.
Okay.
Yahoo and Bing... We're number one, obviously. Number two is that Oxford Geeknights that I say every now and then.
Yeah, I see them tweeting.
That doesn't show up even on the first fucking page of Google.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not there. Oh, it's way down at the bottom. Nope, that's a different Geeknights. That's Cheltenham Geeknights.
Okay.
So Google, basically, for whatever reason, those Oxford Geeknights, whatever they are, have no Google juice, but have plenty of Bing juice and Yahoo juice.
Okay.
It's interesting. They show up as number two. Google splits out the subsections of our website at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Bing does not, but it does that for that Oxford Geeknights.
Uh-huh.
And basically, Bing and Yahoo are pretty much the same in terms of search results, and Google's bring up a lot more things on Google about us. Obviously, I guess that makes sense.
Well, this has to do, some of this has to do with the ranking method, right? So someone searches for, I don't know, fire, right? And you search all your blog posts and you find all the blog posts with the word fire in them, right? How do you decide which one's on top, which one's second, which one's third? How do you, maybe even though it has the word fire, maybe one of them isn't even worth showing, right? How do you figure this out? How does a computer, which can't read it and use its human judgment, right, to figure out which one is the most relevant, rank these appropriately?
You need some sort of algorithm or heuristic.
This is a very, very hard problem, which is why only Google has been able to solve it super well.
Well, like in the old days, one way is they would just look at, I search for fire. How many times does the word fire appear on each web page?
So then someone makes a web page with the word fire on it hidden 100,000 times.
Which people still stupidly do.
Yep. And then that one ends up first if you search for fire because it has the word fire 10 billion times.
I mean, Google's sort of brilliance back in the day was that they looked at who else was linking to something. And that was their, the initial seed
That's
of Google.
Still how Google mostly works is, okay, we don't care really, we care somewhat what words are on your page, right? But anyone can put any number of words in any page. We care someone else wrote a blog post that contains these words, and then they link to you, and the link that is to you contains these words. So that means that a search for those words is your page is probably a good result. And you know what? There's 1,000 pages on the internet that aren't yours. They're other people's posts and tweets and blog posts and whatnot. They're all pointing to your one blog article on your site, all using similar words because you wrote about fire. So they're like, check out this article about fire, link to Scott, right? The word fire links to Scott's article about fire and so on. So that probably suggests that someone who's looking for fire, that link on Scott, that blog post Scott wrote is probably something good that people are interested in because so many people link to it. And it turns out that's true.
But then people would spam links on forums to prop that up illicitly. And then you could do something clever, like if you see links from a bad source, then it's probably a bad site. And
good. Then I'll make a bad site on purpose and link to my competitors from it.
Oh, so now you got to figure out if it's a legit bad site or a malicious bad site. You can see it gets really complicated.
This shit is not hard to, figure out. Also, what about things like spelling errors? Google seems to have figured that out. Other people only slightly, right?
Yep.
You've also got issues such as all right, what if I make a new movie and the title of the movie is The? Or, no, it's actually The. The, right?
Well, that'd be easy because the does not often appear.
No, okay.
Just the would be way harder.
Fine, the title of the movie is The.
Because I can search for the in quotes.
Someone goes to your Google and searches for The.
The is an English musical and multimedia group that's been active in various forms since 1979. Here's a Wikipedia page.
Okay.
They worked with David Bowie? What?
You type in The on Google. Are you going to, the first result, should it be a dictionary entry for the word The, a Wikipedia page for the word The movie that has a title of The, right?
You want to know what the results are on Google? 1, definition of the word The.
Okay.
2, The Onion.
The Onion.
Yes.
Because it's The Onion. It's
the Metropolitan Museum of Art, The Economist, The Highline.
There you go.
Now, those results are obviously
based on RIM's Google account that is signed in.
Yes.
If RIM signed out, the results would most likely change.
Yep, so let me open
up a private browsing window. Yep. Control-Shift-N.
Yep. Wow, you do that often, eh?
I know how to I have to visit sites with no cache and shit at work.
No, yeah, I guess that is your job.
And also porn.
That's what I was getting at. That was the implication.
I was trying to be more funny. That is, I guess, why we're doing this.
Okay.
Just type in The.
Dictionary. Similar results.
Really? Very interesting.
Huh? Wow, it's almost the same results.
How about that?
Yeah, this is definitely still being seeded from me, the Frick Collection.
Twitter.com/the. How about, who's got that account?
The Atlantic. The Metropolitan Museum, The Onion is basically the same results.
Okay.
That's fascinating. That means that Google is doing more than just looking at my account. They're looking at some combination of IP,
or
browser signature.
Those are actually just the top results for The.
Might be. Let's try Internet Explorer. That's never been logged into any of my Google accounts.
You're probably going to get the same results.
The. What? No, don't want to install. I guess I never run this in a long time. The. All right, it's binging the Weather Channel, number 1.
Really? The Dictionary, number 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, 3,
The.
.com.
Yep. The Onion. It's there.
It's there. I guess, you can also, right? It's like if you are a search engine and you have enough people using you, you know what the most common searches are. So like, hey, most people, when they typed in the word the and I showed them results, most people ended up clicking on this link. So that link is probably what the people were actually looking for when they typed in the. So I'm going to move that one up.
So if you want to have some fun in Google, just start typing like "why is" and type a couple things and see what Google recommends.
The sky blue.
Why is Scott not on counting cars?
What the hell is counting cars?
Holding Chloe's hand. Disick called the Lord? All right.
What? Apparently, no. I think it's a person who's named Scott Disick, and I don't know who that is. And I think if we look, we're going to go down a rabbit hole.
He became British royalty.
Okay.
Okay. There's a Wikipedia article. He was on TV. All right.
Is he a lord? I guess he's a lord.
I guess he's a lord.
Lord Disick.
Yeah, television personality.
I want to be a lord.
You want to?
Why wouldn't you? Lord Reuben, get the fuck out of my hold your cupped hand so I may pee into them.
I think we're running out of steam here. I think this is over.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know if we did a show on this or not. And we'll see if we bothered changing anything. I got to see why we didn't find dentist from dentistry and vice versa.
Yeah.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Come back to the hot tub.
Is that your whole story? Did you guess you didn't die again?
Nope. I almost did, though.
Oh, really? Well, it's getting close to that time.
So there was a freak weather on the mountain. So all the powder, the pow-pow, wicked nar-nar, all the snow got turned into ice. Not just like solid ice, but imagine a slope, like basically a sheer cliff, covered not in snow, not even in ice, but golf ball-sized balls of ice stacked up like 4 inches thick.
Oh, so not just a sheet of ice,
yeah,
but basically a pile of hail.
So that's what I got to ski on because a lot of the trails were closed due to icing and other conditions.
Wouldn't your legs just sort of sink into it and just like shump?
No, it's solid and hard. You can't really sink into it.
Oh, the balls are all stuck together?
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically, a bunch of trails were closed. I went off on my own at one point because I platted this path down. Like, I'll take this trail to this trail to this trail because it's a bigger mountain.
And let's see, past the Death Gulch into the Spiky Rock Gorge.
So imagine if I think I'm going to go take Frolic to Bunny Buster. So I go down Frolic, and Bunny Buster's closed, and then all the other trails along that way are closed, and eventually I hit a spot where the only way down that takes me in the direction I need to go, is in the correct side of the mountain, is this crazy-ass, like, double black cliff covered in ice that doesn't look like anyone has actually skied it yet that day.
All right, but wait, that's open.
It is not.
Other things are not open?
There was a rope in front of it that said, danger experts only, thin cover, ice. But it didn't say closed. There wasn't really another way down because it was getting near the end of the day, and I had to get back to there's so many lodges, and I had to get to the right one. So I didn't have time to go down the other side of the mountain because then the lifts would have closed, and I couldn't have easily gotten back. So fuck it. I just went down this thing, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, Death Gulch.
It was also kind of awesome.
You're lucky.
Or
you
skilled.
only got like maybe 10 ski trips left.
I'm either lucky or skilled. You should come skiing sometime.
Yeah, I'm going to stay alive.
All right.
Over here where it's safe.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're
I
probably more likely to
other-
die being hit on your bike by a car than I am to die
I have
on
other
the ski
ventures.
slope.
Also, you know what the other problem with skiing is? Even if I always make fun of skiing like you're going to die. And that is and it is totally true. But there is another major, even if we forget that problem with skiing, that you will die. And we just completely forget about that. There's another problem with skiing. And you know what? I'll even admit, going fast down a thing is fun.
It's way fun.
No one can deny that. Roller coasters.
Yeah, imagine a roller coaster you control.
Bike down a hill, right? No one denies that. There's another problem with skiing.
It's cold?
It's cold and wet. Fuck that shit.
You know what? It's not wet most of the time.
It doesn't matter. When that snow touches you, you are warm because you're a human body. It melts on you. Then it's cold, and then wind blows on you. It's
Yeah, you know what I have?
Fuck you.
I have a large array of expensive protective gear.
Fuck that shit. I'll stay inside.
Yeah, okay.
You know what's inside? Warm.
In fact, you know what? I could use that same gear to bike in the cold.
You know what? All day on friggin' Sunday, not only was I inside in the warm, right? I had my oven on 475. It was warm, and I was going, I don't even need no hot tub. It's so warm.
When we got home on Sunday,
and then I had
went
the oven
running in
on, and when I
shorts.
opened the oven, bread came out. No bread coming out of skis.
Yeah, you know where bread came out? Here's the thing. You ski all day,
butt?
right? And then when the skiing's done, you go to the lodge, and then you get food at the... It's Monday, February 24th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, searching for things and how it kind of works.
Not really.
Let's do this. So I know I talk about skiing a lot, so I'll keep it brief, but this weekend I went out to Vermont for a ski trip with some friends. Little couples hanging out in a ski lodge. It was like the traditional, stereotypical ski lodge. It had the big fire. It had like this common area. Everyone would hang out there during the night. Point the first. The bras that like to ski, like, yo, brah, dude, brah, gets wicked pow, brah. Those guys are real annoying.
Yeah.
But what I found hilarious was that the four of us went into the hot tub and we're hanging out. And those bras would come in like, yeah, we're going to hot tub with our beer. And they have like this big thing of beer with them. And then they'd see us adults in the hot tub and they'd like, oh. And then they'd quietly kind of come away. And then they'd keep peeking in the window like, are they gone? Are they gone? And we weren't gone.
Why don't you just come in hot tub with the non-bras, bro?
So they did at one point. So we were hanging out in the hot tub and they got in, but I think they only got in.
How big is this hot tub?
Big enough for about 8 people.
Okay, it's big.
Gaga.
Yeah.
So they get in with us, and it appears like they keep looking at the girls in our group because there's 2 girls in our group. But once it becomes obvious that those girls are with the guys that are also in the group, they kind of slink away, and they don't really
Done 20 years ago killed my
the Hatzfelds and the McCoys.
grandpapa, so now I hate them too, right? So basically, there's people now who just, Microsoft is his example, right? But they just be hating Microsoft. And you know what? Back in the day, like 2000, there were reasons for that.
Well, remember, IBM used to be the good guy. Then they were the bad guy. Microsoft was the good guy. Then the bad guy. Now almost the good guy again.
Right, but it's like, you look, what is Microsoft doing now? They're not doing their antitrust nonsense. They're not, 90% of the evil things that were the reasons that, Bill Gates with a Borg thing on his face was the icon of Microsoft on Slashdot. All those things that they did then, most of those things, almost all of them actually, they no longer do.
Yep.
But people still even I have a coworker who's even like, Microsoft is worst. It's so bad. Right?
I enjoy people like that. I always ask, oh yeah, what have they done recently?
He won't do any Microsoft anything. He'll buy a PlayStation, he won't buy an Xbox, right?
Wow.
It's like, okay, whatever. And it's like, they're just Windows is garbage. Your registry fills up with stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
so?
1998 called.
Right.
They want their Windows problems back.
Exactly. And it's like, even if the registry fills up with stuff, what does that matter? It doesn't. My computer works just fine.
Yeah, what the fuck are you installing, dude?
Right. It's like they're all complaining about their Macs being slow and running out of memory because OS X memory management is garbage. And I'm like, my Windows computer works just fine. And they're like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, what? You can use your GNU Linux desktop?
Right.
Is that what you're using?
Anyway. So the point is, it just, people be hating on something just because of something they done long ago, and they can't let go of that hate and see the truth of the present, right?
Wait, so haters gonna hate?
That's right. And it's, this guy writes this great article about, it's not very long, but he's like, yeah, look at this, it's because Microsoft did done
Restaurants by the ski lodge.
Yeah.
And that's some good food.
It's not bread you made.
Yeah, you know what? I ate bread at a place called The Garlic.
Okay.
It was pretty garlic.
No, I hope so.
It was garlic.
Is it sort of the a sister restaurant to Salt and Fat?
Imagine if Salt and Fat were just garlic and garlic.
Okay.
It was the poster was like the sign was basically just this huge 3-dimensional bulb of garlic.
Alrighty.
It was good times.
Can you access this restaurant without skiing?
Yes, you can drive to it. Though I point out, I ski. I'm not a professional skier, but I ski, I'm interested in challenges and technical courses and whatever. So I don't drink while I'm skiing. I drink after I'm done skiing. At many of the resorts I go to...
That is not true for most people.
I know. There are bars that are not at the top of the mountain.
In the middle.
And are not at the bottom of the mountain. Meaning you have to ski to them and from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just ski, you stop. There's a guy literally hands you a beer out like a window of a cart. Like it's
You've never been to the West Indies. You don't know what it looks like up there.
Actually, one time we walked down a mountain in Israel, and at the bottom there was a guy lemonade stand in the best possible place.
Oh, at the bottom?
At the end of a long hike, yeah.
Okay, so lemonade stand at the bottom of a mountain is the same as ski chalet at the middle of a mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got any tech news?
Tech news. Well, I got two things that are sort of not quite news, not quite thing of the day. So I'll use the one that's actually written recently, as in 2 days ago, as the news one.
All right.
This guy, Scott Hanselman, wrote an article, Microsoft killed my pappy. Right? And
I saw a link to that.
Right. So what the article is about is, how you have like a feud with someone and you'd be like, that there family